Mistake about it, what is about to happen today has the potential to change and improve our state for decades to come. Gathered today with us are family members, co-workers, neighbors, business partners, and a whole heck of a lot of friends. We are situated right now in the beautiful White Oaks development in Bridgeport, and just 10 years ago, this was just a field. But when you take a dedicated and experienced business leader who has understanding for what is and a vision for what could be, great things happen. We are here today for a very special announcement, an announcement that is just the beginning of what is sure to be a very exciting campaign. And it is very fitting that this campaign starts right here at home in Harrison County. Howard Mason Gore was the only West Virginia governor to be a resident of Harrison County. Governor Gore, a Republican, served West Virginia as governor from 1925 to 1929. It's been 91 years since Harrison County has brought home to be home for a governor. It's time that we end that drought. Before I introduce you to the man of the hour, I first want to bring up three men who know and interact with Woody Thrasher more than anyone else here this morning. In fact, these guys have known Woody all their lives. Please welcome to the podium Woody's oldest son, Cody Thrasher.
We have great weather, and it's great to see such a great turnout for the entire ceremony that we're kind of having today. I'm a chef. I'm not a big public speaker, so I'm going to keep this pretty brief and tell you how I see my father and what I've learned from him throughout the years. Starting with that, those of you who know Woody know that he is not always the easiest person in the world. There's a little bit of tough love that goes hand in hand with all of his pearls of wisdom, which I've been probably the most fruitful recipient of throughout my life. But what he did teach me is it's not about taking the easiest route, it's about taking the right route. And there are three things I want to touch on when I'm speaking about that, and it's accountability, a timeless morality, and what that means with the change in the state. You know, our dad always preached accountability to us. He told us to do what you say you're going to do. It is very simple. If you say you're going to do it, get it done. There's no wiggle room there, and just make sure it's the right thing, which brings us right into the morality aspect. As a young business owner, there are times that I wonder, is this a shrewd business move? Is this maybe not too right? And I feel that in my gut, and I wonder, and I call my dad, and the last time I did was about 3 weeks ago. And before I explained this entire scenario, he said, trust your gut. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not the right thing to do. He said, if you don't want it done to yourself, don't do it to anybody else. These are pretty basic hallmarks. And they go hand in hand with the change that we're looking for in West Virginia. You know, there's a mentality of everyone in the state that things will probably not get better. So I'm going to hold everything I have very, very, very close because it'll probably get worse. We're very tough people, but I think a lot of times that confidence and toughness are confused. And sometimes you need a leader to bring you out, show you what you're capable of, and really give you an opportunity to do things that you never thought possible. You know, Woody's candidacy isn't about self-inflation or reputation. If he wanted that, he could have had that a while ago. He's doing it because it's the right thing to do, and he cares a lot about the state. He truly, truly does. So I'm very proud of my dad. And I hope everyone pays very close attention to what he does within the state. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, guys. So I wasn't really sure how to start this thing today because I wasn't exactly the earliest supporter of this whole idea. When my dad told me that he wanted to run for governor, I thought about losing my mentor, the person that I meet with almost every day to talk about the engineering business, the person I walk around White Oaks with to learn about the development business, and the person I've turned to for guidance my whole life. But there were two things that really turned me around to that. The first is my dad's undeniable energy and excitement for changing our state and improving it. He's totally nuts about it. It's just lit a fire in him that I don't think I've ever seen before. And the second is how great he will be for the state of West Virginia. I don't think there's a person on earth that knows West Virginia better than my dad does. He grew up here and knows the tourism and traditions. In his engineering career, he's worked in almost every city in town and visited every nook and cranny, and he's intimately familiar with our strengths and challenges, and I think he knows better than anyone else the best way to realize our potential. He's also a great leader. He's the type of leader that inspires people to be their best and doesn't really settle for anything less. He's the type of leader that doesn't just find problems, but also brings a solution. And what he's known best for is getting things done. And I can't wait to see him make the changes that West Virginia needs. And I thank all of you for your support. Next is my younger brother, Kalen.
You have to excuse me, I'm a little nervous. At 22 years old, this isn't a normal thing for me to do. Kalen, I'm thinking about running for governor. I remember my dad telling me, "What do you think?" Well, I responded, "I can't say I'm surprised, honestly. You love this state more than anybody else." Now, although it's not surprising to me, it's kind of hard to comprehend what it really means for your father to run for a position like this. I could imagine it real easily. News title saying Woody Thrasher announces his campaign for governor. It was something that seemed distant and realistic all at the same time, kind of like a dream. Or it was equally exciting but perplexing. So here's why. When I think about my dad, and all the titles that are associated with him: entrepreneur, successful businessman, West Virginian of the Year, it's never those titles that seem to stick in my mind first. Rather, it's the simplest title that tends to ring the loudest, and that one is also the one that is most dear to me: Dad. It's the title of the man who taught me how to fish. It's the title of the man who took me camping. It's the man who gave me all the tools necessary that I needed to unlock all the potential within myself that I couldn't see growing up. It's the title of the man who showed me all the beauty and adventure that West Virginia has to offer, who taught me to pursue excellence in all my schoolwork and everything I do, and most importantly, the man who taught me to put others before myself. So, when I think about this whole situation and trying to comprehend it, all I can really think of is the fact that I'm thankful for the blessing that he's been in my life. And I can only hope that the people of West Virginia can see the blessing that he is to this state and will be in this capacity. So with that, I hope that you all will join me in supporting the next governor of West Virginia, my father, Woody Thrasher.
Good job, guys. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ben Queen. I'm a sixth-generation West Virginian, and I represent Harrison County in the legislature. At 24 years old, and with the support of many of you here today, I'm one of the youngest members of the West Virginia House of Delegates. I'm an entrepreneur who has chosen, just like these three, have chosen to live, work, and remain here in West Virginia. West Virginia is our home. It's where we raise and educate our children. It's where we start and grow our businesses. For many of us, it's where our parents and grandparents live, and we are the blessings and of the beneficiaries of their hard work and a belief in a better West Virginia. Our state is a network of small, unique, interconnected communities situated with a 55-county framework. Communities and counties that are led by dedicated local leaders looking for help and hope from our state government. The challenges currently facing our communities and counties are the most difficult West Virginia has had to face in the 156 years history. The opioid crisis is real. The lack of job opportunities in the southern region of our state is a major contributor to substance abuse and increased crime associated with illegal drug distribution. Families are struggling For many, the financial resources needed for basic family needs don't exist, and the number of families who look for our public school system for food for their kids just to make it through the weekend increases year after year after year. Communities begin to die when they have no expectation for a better future, when they have no hope. There are many areas of West Virginia where hope for a better life for parents and their children hasn't existed for several years. With the exception of the opioid crisis that affects our entire state, it is difficult for some of us who live here in a thriving north central West Virginia to embrace the fact that some counties don't even have a grocery store. Some counties don't have broadband internet in their homes or their schools. Many schools don't have certified teachers in the classroom, and some don't have funding to keep the water and sewer systems in a safe working condition. Without hope, there is no future. As a legislator of the last 3 years, I've heard the stories, I've seen the statistics, and I've met with some of the families. And I can tell you that thousands of families in West Virginia are experiencing a lack of hope. And that is directly related to the lack of confidence they have in the leadership of the governor. And it pains me to have to say that. When Woody Thrasher was our Secretary of Commerce, the legislature's trust and confidence in the state's effort to attract jobs to the Mountain State was high. Woody was an effective communicator. He worked hard and assembled a team that worked just as hard. He partnered with legislative leaders and federal agencies to promote West Virginia's strengths. Democrats and Republicans alike had confidence in Woody and his team at the Department of Commerce. Woody leveraged the White House's commitment to fossil fuels to bring economic development opportunities to the state, to make West Virginia stronger again. Whoever forget that iconic photo of President Trump, China's President Xi, and Secretary of Commerce Woody Thrasher acknowledging China's interest in an $83 billion deal. At a time when the state needed an individual with skills, knowledge, and intellect to build and lead a comprehensive economic development strategy to bring new jobs and new opportunities to West Virginia, Woody Thrasher stepped up to serve. From a two-man operation with just him and his dad, to a company that nearly employs 700 people in 7 states, Harrison County's Woody Thrasher knows what it means to work hard, work smart, and to appreciate the dedication and loyalty of others. So it's not surprising that his departure as the state's chief economic development officer left a void that was very difficult to fill. But to be fair, what we know now as the unpredictable leadership of our current governor didn't present an appealing opportunity for others to consider. West Virginia needs a change. West Virginia needs a full-time governor. The West Virginia legislature needs a full-time partner in the governor's office. West Virginia families and our public employees need a governor that works day in and day out to restore hope. The West Virginia business community, as well as national and international investors interested in West Virginia, need to know that there's a steady hand at the wheel, and West Virginia is led by an individual who serves as an example for his administration to follow. West Virginia teachers, school service employees, parents, and most importantly, students need a governor who will make education a top priority and not just a soundbite. We all need a governor we can believe in. We need a governor we can count on. We need a governor we can be proud of, and we need a governor who gives us hope. The upcoming 2020 election will present West Virginia voters with an opportunity to make the change we need, to make the change we deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce our friend, your friend, and the next governor of the great state of West Virginia, Mr. Woody Thrasher.
We run the kind of organization that could have a street cleaner coming through at the most appropriate time. So I want to tell you there's some symbolism in that sort of thing. I don't you think it was just by accident. It is so wonderful for me to sit here and look out to this crowd and see so many friends and associates and people that don't need to be out here but have chosen to do it. I want to thank Ben Queen. Ben is a very young man who is wise beyond his years, and he is a great legislator, and I think he's going to be a great person for the state of West Virginia. So thank you, Ben, for those really kind comments. He has mentored me in the ways of politics. So I'm usually not mentored by a 20-something, but in Ben's case, I am. I also want to thank my boys. Man, that was the nicest I've ever had you talk to me. I hope somebody was recording those comments because I want to replay those. Those were tremendous. You guys did awesome. I want to thank Stephania, my fiance, for her love and her prayer and her support. Is this not a beautiful day? Is West Virginia not an absolutely exquisitely beautiful place? Make no mistake about it. I love West Virginia. I love it because it is one of the prettiest places in the country. I love our people, and I love our way of life. We're committed to traditional values, God, family, and a really good, strong work ethic. As my mother used to say, they're just good people. And West Virginians are just good people. But the truth is, we are not going in the right direction. We remain 50th in nearly every good category and first in every bad category. We're losing population at an alarming rate. We lost over 10,000 people last year, and that's on the heels of 20 years of decline. And we're not only losing people, we're using youth, the best and the brightest that we have. They're leaving because there's a lack of opportunity. And there's a lack of opportunity because of a lack of leadership at the very highest level. When we created this business park, we had two goals. We wanted to do something for our community, our North Central West Virginia community, and we wanted to create a place where businesses could locate that would provide real career opportunities for our youth. Not just jobs, but real career opportunities. We've been successful. Over 3,000 people come to work at White Oaks every day. I have a great sense of gratitude to the people of West Virginia. This company behind me that employs nearly 700 people, it's amazing to me. I don't know how it happened in spite of me, not because of me. But we did it by serving the really small towns and communities across the state of West Virginia. And this state has been incredibly good to me. And I have a great sense of obligation. To whom much is given, much is expected. When I die, I want to know that I did the absolute best for this state that I love. I have a great desire to serve. I feel like I'm at the absolute peak of my career, and I want to use that skill set that's been developed over my whole lifetime for the betterment of West Virginia. I believe I and my leadership style can make a huge difference. I do have a track record of success. I know how to generate economic activity. I know how to create jobs. The fact is, the current governor isn't doing it, and neither will a career politician. I am a worker. I show up for work every single day, and a lot of people, particularly this crowd, will sometimes wish I didn't show up every day, but I do show up every day. I told my sons, the one thing I know everybody successful has in common is that they work hard. They show up for work every day and they do their absolute best, and they realize that's what it takes to be successful. So at the age of 10, I had my paper route, delivered papers on Pike Street where all the beer halls were and pool halls, which was great at education for a 10-year-old. Then I'd circle around on Main Street where all the businesses were located, and then finish my delivery at Stonewall Billiards, what is now Kelly's. And it was a great education of the youth, and Clarksburg and West Virginia was a really dynamic place. At age 12, I started working at Horner Brothers Engineers running blueprints. That's where my father worked. During the summer, I baled hay for $1 an hour out on the golf estate and thought it was pretty good wages. Through high school, I worked at A&P, stocking shelves and working a cash register. Through college, I worked construction in the summers. And I've learned a lot about how to get things done. The first thing you do is you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, and that's never been a challenge for me. And you're not intimidated by having people around you that are smarter than you and who render really good advice. And you surround yourself with this group of great people, and you have a good discussion, and there's a consensus that arrives as to what is the correct course of path. And then you follow it, and you doggedly work at it. It's not rocket science, but it's a system that works. I discovered many things when I was Secretary of Commerce. It was a veil was opened on how state government works. I talked about how you get things done, and you do it through assembling a great team, a consensus, and you work together. Truth is, our Republican legislature has laid really good groundwork for West Virginia to move forward economically. Between the tort reform, the right to work legislation, workers' comp being fixed, that foundation is laid, and there should be a teamwork atmosphere in Charleston, and it simply does not exist. Our governor should be working hand in glove with the Republican legislature, and they are not on the same team. What I also noticed is we can do dramatically better. We are not resigned by fate to be 50th. There are many opportunities which abound throughout the state of West Virginia. It's simply a matter of taking advantage of those opportunities. Specifically, we promoted tourism. We've got a beautiful state. We've got great state parks. We were able to get $80 million allocated to refurbish our state parks, and then laid the groundwork for a really aggressive ad campaign to bring in those states that surround us to come and utilize our tourism opportunities. That has faltered, but that is still the fundamental thing we need to do. We need to unveil ourselves to our neighbors, and we need to also take recognition that we have so much to be proud of. We need to not be embarrassed in any way about the beautiful state that we have. When you look across the regions of West Virginia, you take the most troubled southern West Virginia that's had real trouble with their coal mine decline. Yet at the same time, there's the Hatfield-McCoy Trails, which is the epitome of successful tourism efforts. We need to look for alternative uses for coal. We need to be creative about how we're going to solve that. If you go to the Eastern Panhandle and its proximity to the eastern markets, it's a perfect place for those companies that need logistically to be close to those markets. If you move over to the Parkersburg area, where under our tenure, Hino Motors announced that they were going to install the full assembly plant, the first assembly plant in the state of West Virginia. There's a great budding automobile opportunity in that arena. You move up north to the Panhandle, and it epitomizes what we want to do and what we don't want to do. That place is so full, as is just to the west of us, of natural gas liquids. You know, we've been cutting trees for 200 years in West Virginia, and we have yet to make furniture. We export everything. That northern panhandle trickling all the way to Doddridge County gives us the opportunity to have these liquids, of which there are tremendous opportunities to add value to those sorts of things, and keep those jobs at home and see economic development like you've never seen it in West Virginia. It's time that we dramatically add value to these wonderful resources that we have. I knew the oil and gas crowd would start that clap. Thank you, Ben. I'm a conservative. I support right to work. I always did, but when I got to be Commerce Secretary, I saw how true that was. Companies hire site selection consultants to decide where they're going to locate their facility, and on that checklist, the majority of companies have right to work, and if you can't check that box, they look somewhere else. We need to have right to work. I support school choice. Take a side note here, and I am so thrilled that our teachers have received much needed pay increases. I'm also thrilled that our state workers have received pay increases. When I took a position as Commerce Secretary, I said the one thing that amazed me most was how good state employees are. They're just dying for someone that will show leadership. They want to see us do better as much as anybody does. I fundamentally oppose tax hikes. As a business person, I recognize that when you raise taxes, it takes money away from potential investment. It's not the way you're going to grow the economy. You're going to grow this economy by making it attractive places for businesses to come, not driving them away. I admire President Trump's economic initiatives. Lowest unemployment since 1952. Lowest unemployment ever for minorities and women. You know, West Virginia has the most underutilized women participation in the workforce of any state in the Union. I'll talk about how we fix that later on, but These are sort of fundamental things that we need to work on. There's an increase in wages and opportunities for American workers, and that needs to be the same case here. And furthermore, just like we have a great sense of pride in our country, we need to have an enormous sense of pride in West Virginia. We have so many things to be proud of. Priorities for our campaign. If you haven't figured it out, it's about economic development. And that's what I'm good at. That's what I know how to do. We need to expand and diversify our economy. For too long, we've depended upon these mineral extraction industries. When times were good, we didn't take the profits from that and diversify our economy. That's why when those resources take a hit, we really take a hit exponentially. We dramatically need to diversify our economy throughout these regions of the state. Parallels to what we did here. We grew this company in a shrinking economy. And we did it by doing different things and figuring out how to do it and working at it. And the same thing needs to take place for the state of West Virginia. We need to improve our infrastructure. This company was built on roads and water and sewer and small communities across the state. All that has been superseded now with broadband. I look across this state and see our wonderful small communities, which truly are the soul and the backbone of our state, and they're dying. And they're dying because they don't have broadband. We're 50th in broadband. If you don't have broadband, you're not going to survive. Conversely, if you do have broadband and a good infrastructure, a folk that wants a really great quality of life in Romney, West Virginia, can go up there and run their business from the living room if they have the infrastructure necessary to do it. We need to maintain and improve our existing roads. I don't know if it's the governor's fault or Senator Manchin's fault. They blame each other. All I know is that I know how to fix these roads. It's not rocket science. You re-empower the highway department to have the ability to maintain those roads, which they don't now. And then in order to get that thing moving pretty quickly, you go to private industry and you pull them to get the roadways where they need to be. And if you do that, we can maintain these roadways. Education, we have to do it better. We're like 17th in the country in terms of the amount of money we spend, and yet we're 50th in terms of results. When you look at our education system from kindergarten all the way through higher ed, when you're spending 17th on dollars and you're 50th in performance, there's opportunity for improvement. What you have to do is be willing to look and make those really tough decisions. Which brings me to the next item, and that is you got to end special interest. For too long, the people that occupy offices in our state have been more concerned about re-election than they have been concerned about the direction our state's going to go. You know, leadership is not a popularity contest. And you have to be willing to make difficult decisions if you're going to move this state forward. And people have been unwilling to make those difficult decisions. The last thing I want is a second term. I want to go fishing full-time after my first term. I will make the tough decisions necessary and not worry about making everybody happy. So I have a dream. Martin Luther had a dream, and I've got a dream too, where we not only have the best of West Virginia and its people, but we also have a land that is full of opportunity, where young people can find meaningful employment and find real careers, where the various regions within the state are diversified and each in their own way achieve prosperity, where our small communities, empowered with broadband, have a resurgence of activity, where our roads are fixed, where integrity is restored, where we are no longer 50th, where we're a role model for how you turn it around. Join me and let's make West Virginia prosper. Thank you.
Thrasher! Woody Thrasher!
Well, that's pretty corny.
Woody Thrasher! Woody Thrasher!
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I can't tell you how good it makes my heart feel to see so many friends and co-workers out here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Woody.
Awesome, Thrasher.
You have copies of his comments.
I can get them to you. I can get that to you. Can you just tell me where. I'm standing here with a pen and
I'm
paper.
Jeff with Connect Bridge Tour.
Oh, hi. It's nice to meet you.
Best for you.
Thank you. When do you need that absolutely?
Just try to get you the best possible.
I'll try. Thank you.
Hey, we just let out this political function, the Thrasher group. They're coming over. I need a 6-stop from Woody. Cool. And they need to be in and out quick. So tell them to go ahead and cook off. Get 2 pieces of salmon, and then everything else we put the order with two salmon on something. But just tell them to have the salmon ready to roll. Thank you.
Hi.